Many of you struggle with self-doubt and self-defeating thoughts. There's an inner critic in you that simply cannot be ignored. No matter how much you do, how much you learn, what degrees you hold, what you've accomplished in your life, what position you play, or amount of material wealth you possess, you can still struggle with the inner critic. It's that voice in your head that says you can never do enough or be enough to be loved and accepted. For no matter what you do, he, she, they will never see the uniquely awesome person that you are. The question within is, am I worthy of love? Can I be accepted as I am? That's what it boils down to. Let me start by saying yes. The answer is a resounding yes. You are worthy, and to believe anything contrary only robs you of the truth that is your birthright. Worthiness is an inherent value, and you are born with it. That worthiness cannot be taken away or diminished by external circumstances, beliefs, or the actions of others. Now that I have your attention, let me ask, are you that person who is wondering how to silence your inner critic? Are you working tirelessly in an attempt to prove yourself so that you can rise above those opposing thoughts, those unreasonable expectations? Where in the world did this critic come from? Hi, I'm Stephanie Willis, co-creator and lead facilitator at IneedAReboot.com. And in this message of empowerment, I'm going to offer some effective tools to help you disconnect that pre-recorded message in your mind so that you can record new messaging and experience more joy in your life. Let's start with the visual. Think of your mind as an autonomous audio-video recorder that does not have an off switch. It's recording all the time, like an old cassette or VHS tape. Let's rewind it back to the beginning of your life when the developing mind is most impressionable. Your genesis actually began even before you left the incubator of your mother's womb. In that space, your physical embodiment tuned into sound and energetic impressions like vocal tonality. What I mean by that is the energy behind the words. Even before you entered the world, the recording was on. This recorder takes those words, tonalities, messages, and eventually images and creates stories from a child's point of view. If the primary adults in your life were creating an atmosphere of fear, lack of safety, neglect, lack of love, and so on, then as a child, you may have been led to believe that you needed to do something to make those around you happy or pleased with you. As a child, you may have felt you needed to earn love and earn recognition, and there are a lot of scenarios in between those statements. There seems to be more compelling evidence of this when you have siblings who are not having the same experience, at least not from your perspective. Whether the beliefs established in your mind were stories you created or direct messages you received, your subconscious mind recorded them and stored them, and these beliefs became the blueprints of your self-perception, recordings and all. What does this mean? It means the inner critic is an old recording set on autoplay. This inner critic is impervious to any attempt to suppress, ignore, or overshadow it by other noise. And this other noise can be overeating, oversexing, overworking, overly saturated with media, overshopping, overserving, people-pleasing, oversocializing, overfunctioning, excessive drinking, or in some way running away from that voice. Now, what can you do about it? Number 1, hear it out. That inner critic represents the echoes of erroneous thoughts and opinions that had to come from somewhere. So before you can do anything, you might want to listen to what it's saying. Try not to become emotionally attached and don't let it define you, but listen to its message so you can identify its authentic source. Number 2, take note of what you hear or feel. Don't judge the message, just allow it to surface, be heard, and write them down. Here's some common scenarios. You might be the kind of person that's climbed many mountains in your life with notable success, yet you fail to acknowledge just how much you've accomplished. You ignore all of the successes you've had and the obstacles you've overcome along the way because 1, someone has convinced you that you lack worthiness, or 2, sometimes parents, with good intentions, set such rigid or excessively high standards that you feel a responsibility to meet their specific vision of success. And then there's 3. You're perhaps blindly hyper-focused on receiving approval, recognition, or praise from a specific source, which often that source is the parents. That inner voice might tell you, you're not good enough, or you'll lose their love and approval if you let them down, or you're invisible to them and they really don't care about you at all. And you know what eventually happens? You find a way to self-sabotage your experiences until those experiences fulfill the words of the inner critic. Let's stop this pattern in its tracks and write down these pervasive thoughts. Now let's get back to what can I do? Number 3, assess the facts with your reasoning mind, beginning with the fact that every human being possesses inherent value, and that includes you. Realize that you get to choose what you think and believe about yourself. Now practice unpacking the messages that you wrote down in number 2. For example, if the message is, I am not good enough, unpacking that message might look like this. Why do you think you're not good enough? I often doubt my value and worth. Why do you doubt your value and worth? People don't seem to hear me or see me. Why do you think people don't see you? I'm afraid to put myself out there to be fully seen. Why are you afraid to put yourself out there and be fully seen? I worry that if I reveal my true self, I'll face rejection, judgment, or criticism. Why do you think you fear rejection or judgment when you're your true self? I've had past experiences where I was vulnerable and I was met with unwavering judgment and criticism. I felt my true self was rejected and it made me hesitant to open up again. You can continue unpacking this belief until you get to the source. This practice goes a long way to helping you discover the source of your self-perceptions. It's like unraveling a thread, the thread that binds our thoughts, emotions, and self-awareness, the thread that guides us towards a deeper understanding of why we hold certain beliefs about ourselves. Learning to unravel those threads of belief will help you shift the balance of power and harness the fullness of your potential. Thank you for inviting me to join you on your journey of self-discovery and self-mastery. Remember, when your mind begins replaying old recordings, the key to silencing it is to unravel it. Number 1, hear it out. Number 2, write it down. Recognize that message and discern where it's coming from. Number 3, use your reasoning mind to unpack the message. Assess the facts and detach from the feelings. Avoid assumptions and emotional traps. I've included a link to download a worksheet from Module 1 of my bootcamp. This worksheet will assist with the ideas presented here in this video. If you found this video valuable, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for time-tested insights and techniques to help you master your self-awareness and personal power journey. And if you're ready to take the next step in transforming your life, visit my website at ineedareboot.com and consider registering for the 12-week live bootcamp hosted within my virtual incubator. Together we learn, grow, integrate, and meditate to holistically become the best version of ourselves. You're free to laugh, cry, and share in a supportive container while you alchemize and transform that old, dusty, stagnant, debilitating energy into fluidity, flow, and greatness. I got you. I want you to know that experiencing the true joys of life are not only possible, I'm telling you it is within your reach, but you do have to trust, you have to believe, and you have to push yourself beyond all suffering. The journey of self-discovery and true liberation is probably the most challenging, yet the most rewarding one you'll ever take. But you do not have to take the journey alone. Until next time, together, let's embrace our true selves, rise above the illusions, and live each day with the joy and freedom we deserve. See yourself to free yourself. Shift the balance of power in your life. I'm Stephanie from ineedareboot.com, and I'll see you in the next lesson.